to the point where they become highly unlikely to succeed in higher education, and they're quite likely to have serious mental health problems later in life. I could go on and on about the social evils of some of these small churches, but in terms of our topic tonight, I believe it's clear that there is no broad community benefit from providing them with the financial benefits that we currently do. The existing deal is a very bad deal for most Australian citizens. I think these two arguments make the case for ending the tax benefits for all religions. The fair share of tax that all religious organisations should pay is the full share. The only tax exemptions should be for work that is charitable in the purely secular sense of the word. The advancement of religion of itself no longer provides a return for the financial benefits it is given under law, so the law must change. Let me end with a biblical quote. It's Matthew 22, verse 21. Then saith he unto them, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's.
Yeah.
Jesus was telling the Pharisees, who were the dominant religious leaders at the time, to pay tax. There are no caveats, no except on your religious stipend, and certainly no except where you earn huge rents on a city block that was given to you 200 years ago. It's time to pay up.
The secular party doing biblical quotes. A point well made too, and a very strong point also about the government providing tremendous benefits to religious organisations. So let's get a counterpoint now from Charles Northcote.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Should religions in Australia pay their fair share of tax? It's a clever title, because already the inference is that religions don't. It is a line of seeming to attack privilege without providing balance with respect to the social benefits to society. That benefit is both in moral standards and social enterprise. However, it has not always been easy to put into dollars and cents. I represent the mainstream Protestant Christian values. I'm a man who believes in outcomes. Proof in the pudding, not elegant theories. My work at MA Housing is testament to this. Just quickly, the church is about people, not about buildings. In Nicky Gumbel's book, Is God a Delusion, he states, and I paraphrase, it's worth stating 6 positive aspects of our opponents and their arguments. They're clever people, professors and intellectuals, who use rhetoric and humour and ridicule with skill. Some of the attitudes expressed and attacks on religion, particularly on violent religion, require courage. Some of the attacks on Christianity are well-founded and must be taken seriously so that the errors of the past are not repeated. Christians are human. They make mistakes in living out their Christian life. It doesn't mean the message is flawed. The Christian faith can and should benefit from criticisms of its attackers. The authors have put faith back on the agenda for popular discussion. The Apostle Peter says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. The conviction that truth matters is a positive move away from relativism, which says that what you believe does not matter so long as you are sincere. Conversely, these opponents say that what you believe does matter because belief affects life. Truth matters. Roger Scruton, an Oxford professor, writes in the Oxford Dictionary of Epistemology, if anyone tells you there's no such thing as truth, they're asking you not to believe it, so don't. There's lots of truth out there. There's what you know and what you don't know. There's what you know, but that is not necessarily so. You as the audience need to investigate, lift off the veil, do not take what is said as valid, you need to think, not just regurgitate. Tax, it is about power. It gives you power and control. The purpose of the debate is not about fairness, it's about shrinking the church's voice. It is a belief that government can manage the outcomes for the people better than the people themselves. Perhaps page 165 of Mr. Max Wallace's book, The Purple Economy, really indicates the true agenda. Christian values do not agree with theirs. The rather contemptuously, Mr. Wallace states that religion is no more than baby food for adults. At best, it can be an interesting speculation like literature and art. I'm sure Christians such as Sir Isaac Newton, Michael Faraday, Louis Pasteur, Joseph Lister, James Clerk Maxwell, who ranks with Newton and Einstein as the founder of modern physics, might disagree. Why the Christian church? It is the last but weak bastion to stop us slipping into terminal moral decay. I quote Peter Hitchens' book, Rage Against God. Only one reliable force restrains the hand of man of power. In an age of power worship, the Christian religion has become the principal obstacle to the desire of earthly utopians for absolute power. Let us discuss tax. Many figures will be quoted. Let me say that statistics can be massaged to suit any argument, especially when trying to create a broad canvas. Mr. Max Wallace glibly quotes the Adele Ferguson article in the Business Review Weekly, June 2006, that if the Catholic Church was a corporation, it would be one of the top 5 in the country, and estimate religious groups in that country had a staggering $23.3 billion in revenue in 2005. It's only 2.5% of GDP. It's not even statistically significant. He makes it out to be the bad thing. Firstly, I agree with him, it's not defined. It does include hospitals, schools, women refuges, aged care, community care charities. If the country felt it was such a bad thing, why are they not jumping up and down, protesting like mad? Perhaps the emperor has no clothes. The issue of paying tax. Let us take a situation I can speak with authority. Your local parish church. I've over the last 10 years been involved in local church leadership, both Anglican and Baptist, running finances, and are rather amused at the amount of tax they think they would raise. Most churches, with few exceptions, struggle to make ends meet. What happens? Offertories. They're already tax paid. Do we tax it again? Buildings. Yes, they are exempt from rates. But if used for commercial purposes, they do pay rates. Income from enterprises is then recycled into the ministry of church and the community. Stamp duty. Let us first understand land value is governed by the banks and land supply the government. Just because land goes up and was given to the church, should it be taxed? Just because, if the argument was valid, then our personal home should be taxed. The church building is not for the purpose of making profit or personal gain. Good stewardship of assets passing on to the next generation is common sense. Using them judiciously in the existing environment to the benefit of society is not a bad thing. Likewise, our personal home is handed down to the next generation for the benefit of our children. Payroll tax. Yes, there are exemptions. However, these are not for personal gratification. Government understands the value service provided by charities to society as a whole. Local churches will not exceed the payroll tax threshold in 99% of cases. Mr. Wallace continues to emphasise the lost billions, not the benefits. Obviously, states governments do understand the benefits and have willingly made that choice. State governments give payroll exemptions to lure business to their individual states. Ask Boeing and Virgin, whose benefit goes to the shareholders. Where does the income on these investments go? Schools, preschools, playgroups, hospitals, pastoral work, visits to the elderly, to the hospital, dealing with grief and catastrophes. I can only but speak about Christchurch, where my parents live, and what the chaplains and people sent from Australia have gone and done in that community. And we must not forget that the church supports a huge number of volunteers who make our society a better one. Fair share, who determines this? Perhaps the current situation is already right, as the benefit to society is already significant. Even my opponents concede the social benefit. Their secular party website says, we concede that in providing psychological consolation and inspiring charitable works, the practice of belief may be beneficial. Then a couple of paragraphs later say, however, we certainly think containing government support, endorsement, subsidy, promotion of religion is possible. And that's what we advocate. Belief, as we know, is a driver of social service. Mr. Sid Hickman argues in his article 2003, it's time we move proactively to expanding the social sector, and I totally agree. And I quote his article, the benefits of social capital are becoming increasingly well known. Francis Fukuyama, Peter Drucker, and other leading thinkers have brought together a wide range of research to show that high levels of social interaction reduce the levels of crime, health, and social dysfunction in society. In short, society with strong social networks is cheaper to run and produces happier people. And perhaps the long-term benefits of substantial government investment would be lower overall government savings would then be generated. Society is stepping away from the last 50 years. And we note in the article, Taming